Today we're going to have a look at how we can convert fractions into decimals. Okay, so this is important when you have to compare fractions and decimals. It's easier if you can get them all into one type of thing. So if we have a look at fractions into decimals here, so if we have a look at something like 3/10. Now 3/10 is a decimal fraction, okay, so we can use decimal place value to convert this quite easily. So looking at our place value, we have our hundreds, our tens, our ones. We then have our decimal point, and then we have our tenths, our hundredths, and our thousandths. So this is quite easy to convert here because this is 3/10. So we can put a 3 here, decimal point here, and we have 0.3. Okay, 3/10 also with fractions, it's important to remember that a fraction is a division sum. So 3/10 is actually 3 divided by 10. Now when we divide 3 by 10, we would put 3 here. Remember there's always a decimal point after a whole number. So to divide by 10, 10 has 1 0, so we need to move the number one space across the decimal point. But on paper it's easier to move the decimal point, so we could move the decimal point one place and it would land here, and that would give us 0.3. So it would be the same with something like 35/100ths. Again, because it has a denominator of 10, 100 or 1000, it's a decimal fraction. So this is 35/100ths, which means that we could put it into our place value chart here as 3/10 and 5/100ths, or 35/100ths. So that would be an easy way to convert a decimal fraction. Now, not all fractions obviously have a denominator that is 10, 100 or 1000. That should be there. So 10, 100 or 1000. So in that instance, you would have to do a division sum. So we've already mentioned that fractions are effectively division sums anyway. So if we were to look at, for example, 2/3. Okay, so 2/3. So this would be 2 divided by 3. To convert this into a decimal, you would take your 2 and you are going to divide by 3. Now, first thing you notice is that 3 will not go into 2. So we would put a 0 here, and we would add a decimal point here and here. And decimal zeros after the decimal point have no effect on the value. So 2 is the same as 2.000. So here we go, 3 will not go into 2. So we put a 0 here, we carry this 2 over here, and 3 will go into 20 6 times, because 6 times 3 is 18. We have 2 left over, so we carry the 2 over here. 3 will go into 26 times. You'll notice that our decimal is recurring. So we can actually stop now that we know that this number is just going to repeat forevermore, and you can put a dot at the top. You'll sometimes see a line at the top as well, but in this case we can do that there. So let's do one more. So if I have 5/8 this time, so 5/8, so 5/8 is 5 divided by 8. So 5 will go here, and we'll put it in a bus stop, put 8 here. 8 will not go into 5, so I'm going to put my 0 here, decimal point here, decimal point here, and I'm going to give myself 3 zeros to carry over to if I need them. So 8 will not go into 5, so I'm going to carry that 5 over. 8 will go into 50 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48, so I will carry 2 over. 8 will go into 20 twice, leaving 4. Carry the 4 over. 8 will go into 40 5 times. And I have converted 5/8 into a decimal of 0.625. Now sometimes, we'll clear all these off. Now sometimes you will be asked to convert a decimal into a fraction. So the easiest way to do that, so if we had, for example, 0.45. Okay, so this is 0.45. If I put my place value headings up here, so hundreds, tens, ones or units, and then we have tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. So we have 0.45 here. The easiest way to convert a decimal into a fraction is take this number here, so your decimal number, that will become the numerator of your fraction. And then the denominator will be the column that your decimal number finishes in. So in this case, it's the hundredths, so we can put 45 100ths. We now need to cancel down this fraction to give it in its simplest form. Well, 45 and 100 can both be divided by 5. So we're going to divide both the top and the bottom by 5. And 45 divided by 5 is 9. And 100 divided by 5 is 20. And we found the fraction in its simplest form because 9 and 20 do not share a common factor. So let's do another one here. So if we had 0.04, so here we have our numerator of our fraction is going to be 4. And our denominator, again, will be the column that this number finishes in, which is the hundredths column. So this will be 4 100ths. We can divide both of these by 4, and 4 divided by 4 will give me 1, and 100 divided by 4 will give me 25. And that is how you would convert a decimal into a fraction. So just read the decimal number there. That will become your numerator. Your denominator will be the column, will be the value of the column that your decimal finishes in. Let's do one more just to make that clear. So 0.7. So 0.7, our numerator on our fraction is going to be 7. Our denominator will be tenths because it finishes in the tenths column. And that will give us 7/10, which cannot be simplified because it's already in its simplest form. I hope that clarifies that one there. And in our next video, we'll be looking at how we can convert fractions and decimals into percentages.